You ever heard of the third dimension? Third dimension? I thought I lived in 2D. Well, student plumber was just like you for the longest time. The original Super Mario was released in 1985, and for 11 years, the character starred in several games ranging from the original trilogy on the NES, I still have the original trilogy on VHS, to Super Mario World, even ranging to the portable worlds in Super Mario Land. However, hardware had been slowly progressing since Mario's inception. The original, released on a console only capable of an 8-bit display, was quickly becoming outdated, and with the mid-90s discovery of the third dimension, I know, Mario was destined to, I guess, become part of the third dimension? Start a third-dimensional video game? Super Mario 64 was released in 1996, and similarly to the original, this game is heralded as an all-time classic. For what Super Mario Bros. Did to 2D platformers, this did for 3D platformers. It caused a period of time where literally every game released was going to be a similarly styled 3D game. I mean, just to name a few: Banjo-Kazooie, Sonic Adventure, Gex. The game took elements from 2D Mario games such as enemies, atmosphere, and the visual style just generally, and I matched them with new ideas and capabilities of their new hardware, creating a game which is just an immaculate camera. Okay, so the game is certainly a bit dated in terms of controls and sorts, but you can't really knock it for that. Mario 64 was a pioneer at the time, and the 3D camera is something that games have been working to perfect to this day. Look at you, Gex. Because of how revolutionary this camera and the entire genre of 3D video games was, Mario 64 is held on the podium few new games really even have a chance of coming close to. There just isn't another barrier like this to be broken, and even if there was, this fat plumber would have found it by now. It can't be overstated what this game did to the gaming industry. It truly revolutionized the genre and paved the way for so many iconic games to come in the future. The next 3D game would be released in 2002, entitled Super Mario Sunshine. The game is definitely one of the more divisive in the series. Some people herald it as one of the best 3D Marios, while others ding it for quirky gameplay mechanics and for being janky and arduous at times. For me, this was a game I first played when the 3D All-Stars collection came out for the Switch. There's no YouTube video of me playing it, so don't go watch it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And I could definitely see both sides of the argument there. The game is split into 7 sections, each containing shine sprites, and there are also some bonus shine sprites hidden throughout levels in the main map area. This is what you call a bonus. The premise of the game is that Mario was framed for making everything dirty. Mario has to clean up this mess, and it turns out Bowser's behind it all, which is a shocking development. The main addition between Mario 64 and Sunshine was the Flood Backpack, which adds to Mario's moveset and allows him to squirt and clean dirty areas of the map. Which sounds incredibly lame, actually saying it out loud. In terms of movement and control, overall, Sunshine is a definite upgrade to 64. However, on the negative side, Mario Sunshine is always seen as arduous and janky. Take the Plinko machine, for example, or the cleaning electric ray level thing. There were definitely times during my playthrough that I was getting just way too stuck and frustrated for playing a Mario game. Overall, this game adds tremendously off the first in terms of gameplay mechanics, and everything feels really good. Where it lacks at times is the level design. Now don't get me wrong, the atmosphere of the beach and vacation is amazing. But I'm talking about the actual level design that Mario has to traverse through in order to actually beat the game. In my eyes, this knock does tick it below 64, but also in most people's eyes, it never really stood a chance of surpassing the original because of how revolutionary 64 really was. After Sunshine, something interesting happened. With 64 and Sunshine, the gameplay revolved around pretty much exploring open worlds, collecting treasure signs, and completing puzzles with ranging difficulty. However, as a family company, Nintendo always strives to make their games as family-friendly and accessible to casuals as possible. Because of this distinction, when Nintendo returned to make their next 3D Mario game in Super Mario Galaxy, they reverted to almost a 2D Mario formula, with a world select screen structured in linear level designs, and even just some normal Mario power-ups. Sorry, did I say normal? The premise of the game is about what the title suggests. Mario goes to space to save Princess Peach. You're kidding me, he's saving Princess Peach in this game? Which introduces a ton of new gameplay mechanics such as gravity, and that's something we've never heard of before. Orb-shaped planets and these spiderweb things, I guess. Overall, Galaxy is a fun balance between the 2D and the 3D games. It doesn't really lean too hard into either side, like how 64 3D World ended up doing, and it remains interesting with its unique gameplay mechanics. It was the perfect game for the Wii at the time, a console owned by almost everyone in the world. You know, every day, I wake up and realize there's probably a person in the world who owns a Wii U and not a Wii. And my soul is so jealous. The game was so popular among fans and critics that a sequel, which was originally supposed to be like more Super Mario Galaxy, or just an add-on with a few extra levels, but money, so it was developed for the Wii as well as a sequel. Galaxy 2 is pretty much just more Mario Galaxy, as I just suggested, actually. It's about as sequel-y as the game gets. Obviously, it adds new levels, a new hub, new power-ups, and new bosses, but nothing really groundbreaking or insanely different when compared to the original game. These two games are really unique because of the combination of 2D and 3D formulas, and it really makes the rankings of these games kind of subjective when it comes to which one's higher. It's not like 64 or Sunshine where they both go after a similar goal, but one outdoes the other. It's a situation where these games almost have different goals than the original two games. They also released around this period of time when the 2D renaissance was happening, with everyone's favorite, the new Super Mario Bros. Series. Nintendo really tried leading into the casual fans here compared to Nintendo diehards who do nothing but blabber about which fat mustache plumber game they'd like to not even be challenged in. Wait a minute. That was even shown in their next 3D game, which continued the backwards trend of going from open world 3D platforms to very simple and linear 2D platformers. Super Mario 3D Land was an enigma. In a sense, it was the perfect game because of the console it was released on, the 3DS. It allowed for quick pick-up and play 3D Mario levels, established this time literally on a 2D map and a level select screen. This is about as 2D as a 3D Mario can get, but as I mentioned earlier, this one was understood as not a cash grab or appealing to certain types of fans, but just as a good move. I mean, an open world game for the DS, while technically already attempted in Mario 64 DS, it wouldn't be the best for the idea of the system, which was to be able to pick up the system, play for a little while, and be able to pretty much drop it and get off at any point. This was seen as a 3D Mario for the DS, rather than a mainline 3D Mario game, which is both why it doesn't get as much hate for simplifying the formula, and why it is pretty much forgotten by a large portion of the Nintendo community. What really muddled the waters was the next 3D Mario, Super Mario 3D World. This game is often seen as very lazy and just flat out boring at times. The fact that it released for Jesus, sorry, I meant the Wii U. I get my dead things mixed up. The fact that it released for the Wii U is a technical disadvantage from the start. I mean, as I've covered it a few times on this channel, the console was not as successful as originally planned. The gimmicks of the system are normally how Nintendo draws in most of their customers, like the idea of a portable gaming tablet in the Switch, for example. I mean, do you think anyone's buying this because it's as powerful as a PC or Xbox? Actually, if you just install more RAM on the thing real quick. When this appeal didn't occur for the Wii U and the gamepad, the console had to rely heavily on games for sales. And then they released this? The lamest thing I've ever seen. Now, something I have to note here, I really like 3D World. It's a fantastically structured game, and the levels are a joy to play. However, it is extremely 2D and linear, it has some auto-scrolling levels, and to the naked eye, it is one of the most bland, big first-party games in Nintendo history. When this game was released, it was on a poorly performing console, only really bought by die-hard Nintendo fans. The concept of the game was to be accessible to casuals. Again, we've covered this. Nintendo likes children for some reason. I don't know why they don't target adults who just hardcore their games 24/7. It's weird. But because of this, nobody wins here. And like I said, while I do believe the game is actually really well constructed, its concept and the timing of it did not put it in a good spot to succeed. This just references the Switch version, which clearly was far more popular, simply because it was on a more popular system. This allowed more people to get to play and appreciate this game for what it was, rather than complain that it's just not exactly what they wanted. And the reason they weren't complaining is because the Switch already had a big 3D Mario game in Super Mario Odyssey. What this should show going forward for Nintendo, do not make a game called Super Mario 3D Planet and make it the only 3D Mario game on a console. I've just cursed the Switch Pro. There needs to be a balance between these 2D linear games and fully open world 3D games, which the Switch was able to pull off. Now, this puts the ranking of 3D World kinda in the middle. I mean, it's a good game, but it was just released at a really bad time, and because of this, not many people remember the game fondly, and that's kind of a shame. And finally, the newest of the 3D Mario games, Super Mario Odyssey. Now this is what I call 3D. My personal favorite out of the 3D Mario games, Odyssey does so much right. It structures itself as an open world 3D Mario, as a place you have to explore seemingly endless at times. And minus boss fights and specific cutscenes, there isn't anything forcing you to go one way or the other. You can literally collect any moon at any time using whatever methods you want. Okay, not any method, Mario! The point is, this game masters what's good about 3D games. Exploration. It allows you to make your own path and explore these amazing 3D environments. But it still leaves something for the 2D player too, which is what's really cool about this game. And that's the Kingdom Select plus story modes and boss fights, plus there's actual 2D sections in the game. This can, in a sense, warm casuals and 2D players into the idea of playing a 3D game before they start utilizing the experience for all it can be. That's what I love about Odyssey. Unlike 64 and Sunshine, it never really gets confusing or frustrating to explore the 3D environments. And unlike 3D World, it never feels too linear and too much like a 2D game. It has the perfect balance between the two, making it almost the perfect 3D Mario game for all consumers. But of course, you're never going to make everyone happy, so some compromises have to be made in order to please the masses. And unfortunately, the ones who normally have to sacrifice things are me. Excuse me. Die-hard Nintendo fans who buy anything. Because of these factors, I do see the next 3D Mario as a sequel to Odyssey, as it's a familiar title and would likely sell better than a completely new concept or something along those lines. But I also see it taking a step further into the explore the world idea. While Odyssey did an amazing job bonding the two concepts, players who needed to be warmed up to the idea of 3D exploration in the original would likely be more willing to expand on the concept come a sequel. Because of this, fairly understandable stories, goals, and boss fights would still be necessary to keep this group going and interested in the game. But what I'm pitching is to stretch the idea further than the original Odyssey did. Have more large-scale kingdoms such as Sand and Metro, and promote exploration as much as possible, by even requiring certain moons to be collected. There is so much potential for the next 3D Mario game, especially with the potential for new hardware coming out. I can't wait to see any new information or trailers